And the earth brought forth grass, and the herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw it was good. And the evening and the morning were the third day.
Do you hear me? This is chemical warfare every day going on in this fucking world, and now it's Miss Siva Vandana from India. Give her a hand.
There are two Europes. There's your Europe, with whom I come to join with my heart, my love, my solidarity. There's the other Europe that colonized us 200 years ago and thinks they can colonize us again, and we are saying no. We've learned our lessons. We know how to defend our freedoms. Our world is not for sale.
Our earth is not for sale. Can you really patent a tree? Do we need to modify genes? To our amazement, we found that thousands of patents had been taken out on crops, seeds, and vegetables. Through gene modification, the biotechnology industry is in the process of developing new kinds of patented maize, rice, and wheat. Is the whole of creation for sale? Questions like these, about life itself, led us to the Indian nuclear physicist and environmentalist Vandana Siva.
A seed in the world of freedom grows on its own terms. There's no external computer that has to tell it, don't become an oak from a wheat seed. The wheat seed becomes a wheat plant. It doesn't need external control. It's the ultimate expression of freedom.
Varun Mitra is a neoliberal lobbyist with Delhi and London as his base. He's in close contact with the think tanks of Europe and the States, and a firm opponent of Vandana Siva.
We gave the Bullshit Award for Sustaining Poverty to Vandana Siva in Johannesburg last year because she has become the icon of the West, of the protest movements around the world who think liberalizing trade or globalization is going to harm the poor. We think exactly the opposite. I think the poor have lost out precisely because they have no opportunity to trade. And the policies that Shiva and her kind are advocating are actually going to perpetuate the poverty, going to keep poor people poor.
Something is for pepper and some for salt. Ska du ha det på tax-free som hon inte ska ha det i Sverige?
Well, do you want tax-free?
I would love tax-free.
Fast hon ska inte använda i Sverige, hon ska ta med sig det hem.
I'm taking it home. You know, I'm going to take one to beat with their feet, and I'm going to give one to my sister.
We follow Vandana Siva on a journey, A voyage of discovery round the planet. Our first stop is at the farm at Dehradun, at the foot of the Himalayas. Navdanya, the school of the 9 seeds, started by Vandana 20 years ago. Today it has 20,000 members, farmers from all over India. Courses for all kinds of seekers of knowledge. Here, even the buildings are environmental friendly.
Every woman has her own design.
Aha.
Yeah,
because I saw
the
different
way they
shades,
hang it
different
is so,
styles.
and every part of the country, it's different.
Okay.
Depending on the rain, depending on the climate.
Is it just dried or is it baked? I think
No, sun-dried.
It's just sun-dried.
It's straw and cow dung.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. Why do you think I sort of loved that award? I never found it inside. Because I think cow dung is the most beautiful material. Oh, all our walls are made of cow dung cake.
What is she really after, Vandana Shiva? Does she have the answers to our questions?
We have a vision and we have a commitment. And our vision is life cannot be made subservient to money and capital. And people cannot be made subservient to power. That Navdanya is an alternative to the dominant structure, the structure of globalization, which for me started as the structure which was forcing countries to create ownership over life. It has become a structure that is addressing other aspects of globalization. It's addressing other property issues because Navdanya is about reclaiming biodiversity as common property, as the commons. It is about reclaiming knowledge as common property and not allowing that knowledge to be a monopoly. Hello? Hello?
Vandana and the right of ownership of life. A company at the hub of the debate is Monsanto in the United States. They more or less have a world monopoly on gene-modified organisms. We're surprised that they let us in, and that they allow their directors to speak about gene modification and patents.
So at this facility we have 122 growth chambers that are on multiple floors, and these growth chambers we can duplicate the climate, temperature, humidity of any growing region anywhere in the world. We also have 75 research laboratories and over 475 agricultural researchers working at this site in St. Louis. We have 26 greenhouses, 13 on 2 levels. We have over 2 acres of greenhouse space. This is the gene gun, or particle acceleration method for inserting genes into plants. This was developed in the mid-'80s as a way to insert genes into the grass crops, to the monocotyledons, which are like rice and corn and wheat. We take dust particles of gold or tungsten, and we coat them with the DNA of the gene we want to insert. 22 caliber shell.
It is a gun.
It is a gun. And it uses the gunpowder to blast that, and so it shoots those little, like a shotgun, it shoots those little pellets of dust, and they go inside the cell. So it all happens inside this plate. Here, you could either shoot the DNA in with a gene gun into tissue, or you could expose it to agrobacterium. And after a while, you begin to get growth. You begin to see a tiny little shoot. So these little plants start to set roots. Now, once they get a good root ball like this, then they can just take it out and put it in a little pot of soil. It came from a single cell. The only DNA it knew was the plant it came from, except you added, like you said, a new gene. So it could be made resistant to an insect.
Each variety has been marked. It'll be weighed, it'll be selected, then it'll be stored after drying and sorting out. All seeds that have disappeared, like this, is linseed. And you can see how distinctive each variety is. Each variety is so different.
And all of them have been grown here, I mean.
This is all from our farm. And this is a very rare millet now. You hardly see it. It's called China. And it's also, it can grow with no water. If you have a total, it's a famine crop. If you have no water, no rain, this will still give you food. So because of climate change, we have a special commitment to reduce water use. And in 2 months, in 60 days, it's ready. These are the most nutritious crops in the world, and they use the least amount of water, only 300 millimeters. So this is now my passion. The only way to feed the hungry is bring back these crops, because you need less water. That's where women's engineering really works. You need less water and you produce more nutrition. To create awareness and literacy about what are we being fed with. And it's the same as GMOs. You know, the fact that every genetically modified organism, no matter what it is bringing you a virus as a promoter, is bringing you antibiotic resistance markers. That no matter which GM food it is, just those two aspects of GM are dangerous to health. 90% people say we don't want GMOs. The region of Tuscany, its official policy is we will not accept GMOs. They will not grow in our area. In England and Wales, every year, every month, and I'm sure in Ireland too, every month the districts that are saying we'll be GM-free are growing. So from the bottom, people are saying, it's not your decision, we'll choose what we eat, you can't force feed us. But this freedom zones for food is one other very creative element to establish those farmer-consumer links and reclaim the choice and freedom to eat the kind of food we want to eat.
We visit the World Trade Organization meeting in Cancun in September 2003. 10,000 delegates from 145 countries are there. Environmentalists, lobbyists from all over the world. Can there be fair trade? What does globalization lead to?
We are working towards an absolute food crisis. And the reason we are not noticing it is with WTO, all the governments are busy generating figures of trade. How much are they trading? Not figures of how much are they growing. So as less and less is produced and more is traded, there is an illusion of surplus. But there is a reality of serious scarcity. And WTO actually has subsidies allowed for facilitating farmers' exit. When farmers are pushed out of agriculture or their incomes collapse, they don't go and buy cell phones. They drink the pesticide and annihilate themselves. That's what's happening in thousands in India. More than 20,000 farmers have committed suicide on our account. On the flight, a national paper had a tiny item 675 farmers committing suicide in August in one district of India alone. One state, 1 month.
ഈ പഴം ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ടാണ് കഴിച്ചത്. ഇതും കഴിച്ചിട്ട്
കുറച്ച് വാഴ അപ്പുറം നട്ടിനായിരുന്നു. ചൊവ്വാഴ്ച പോയതാണ്, പിന്നെ വന്നിട്ടില്ല. പിന്നെ ശനിയാഴ്ച രാവിലെ ഞാനും ഏച്ചി അനിയത്തിയും കൂടി അളക്കാൻ പോകും. അന്നേരം വാഴത്തോടത്ത് കണ്ട് കുറെ കടമുണ്ട്. തരാൻ ചെയ്യാൻ എന്നെ മോളെയും നോക്കുന്നു.
Korean farmer Lee Kwang-hoo commits suicide in the middle of a demonstration as a protest against the rich country's agricultural policies.
Farmer Lee's suicide shows that the farmers' suicides in India are not an aberration. It's not an exception.
But the EU and the United States are adamant. They want their trade barriers against the poor countries to remain in place, and they want to go on being able to dump surplus agricultural products on the third world.
Don't you know that what is good for the United States and the EU is good for the world? That's right.
Undermining farmers' needs. USEU corporate greed. Undermining farmers' needs.
WTO is an instrument of corporate unilateralism. The case of GMOs is initiated by Monsanto, not by the citizens of the United States. These are the kind of interests that drafted the trade-related intellectual property rights agreement, the giant pharmaceutical industry, which is the same as the giant biotech industry, which is the same as the giant seed industry, which is the same as the giant agrochemical industry. It's the same industry. WTO is only their instrument. It's a unilateral instrument. It can only be used unilaterally. That's why it is in need of deep change and deep reform. So I think they have to come through here. Even I want to go to the loo. Where are you all?
During the Cancun negotiations, an American organization suddenly starts distributing GM foods to Mexican farmers.
And we got the food that we bought is locally from the area. So we're really excited about that too.
But it is GM food.
It's GM foods.
Greenpeace and Vandana watch proceedings, and the world's press covers the meeting.
Por favor, hay suficiente para cada familia. Hay suficiente para cada familia.
Sí, yo creo.
We would like to see the same type of free market, free enterprise capitalism that has made America what it is today, a very rich and prosperous nation, be a model for what can happen here. We have found great response from the residents in this particular community to our message. We have given them groceries as a gesture of friendship and have met with their leaders, and they are very enthusiastic about a long-term partnership with a U.S. free market NGOs. yes, they are aware that they are receiving regular groceries from a regular store that does contain genetically modified foods.
Si no hay fila, no se les da. Van a estar en fila, va a ser uno por familia, por favor. Hay bastantes familias, hay suficientes despensas.
We are here because we think this is a propaganda event from Monsanto. We are sure these Monsanto and the other transgenic corporations are doing this in order to control the food of the world.
Conocemos. Maseca, Cornflakes y Pasta son marcas que conocemos. Y ellos dicen que es comida transgénica.
Let them choose. If they can choose for themselves, fine. If they can't, no. You are force-feeding them. This is our people. They are exploiting them. This is the food that comes from their own grocery. Why don't you come from India to distribute this food every day? Why are you coming today?
GM food, the GM corn that is being sent here in Mexico is destroying the Mexican corn market. How is that supposed to be a solution? How is that supposed to be a solution?
If they are destroying Mexican corn market, then these people would be the first one to oppose and reject it.
Who?
These people here. These people, let these people decide whether they want the Monsanto variety or
What choice are you giving them? They're hungry and you're giving them GM food.
Virtually 200 million Americans eat this corn for the last 10 years. And if the children of the Iran had a problem, they would have had this problem.
So they didn't have a chance to decide.
We are watching what is going to happen to the American children.
When?
We are the
10 years is not
when?
a long time. It's not a long time.
These people should have the ultimate freedom to decide whether they want the Monsanto or whether they want somebody else.
GM food has failed in India. It has,
I'll give an example.
Committing suicide because of the failure of GM.
I'll give an example. These farmers are not interested whether it is GM or whether it's organic or whether it's anything chemical. Farmers are interested primarily in something that gives them some degree of income. And spurious is an indication, the tremendous demand that they have for anything that would give them a hope to improve their livelihood, improve the condition of their family. I think they should be the ones who should decide, not us and him and anybody else. They should be the ones to decide.
Entonces dice que no quiere.
Alimento se lo vuelvo.
Está devolviendo el alimento.
The negotiations in Cancun have reached a deadlock. As usual, the USA and the EU are confident the outcome will be to their advantage. But the developing countries march out of the meeting.
Very happy. Yes, I'm very happy. No, I'm not from Kenya, but I'm very happy. Ministers are coming down and saying it's over.
They didn't realize that the anger of developing countries is so much because they've been treated so badly, even before they came to Cancun. That this must be the last straw.
The third world has had enough. The USA and the EU cannot go on dictating agreements. And there is no agreement in Cancun.
Happy. Now the WTO is delegitimated, it's discredited, and we can go on to further global talks in the United Nations maybe.
Arrogant representatives of powerful governments, Europeans or Americans or corporations, come around in arrogance thinking bullying the third world is their right.
Okay, thank you very much.
When Vandana returns to Dehradun, her brother Kuldip is there to meet her.
The day I am free, I'm not already committed, I'll be with you.
She's got so many things to attend to. It gets exhausting. It tells upon you physically and in many other ways. My other sister, Meera, is also quite concerned. She also says that Vandana is following too hectic a pace. But then she gets so involved and she meets people around who, I think, motivate her and encourage her, and she gets going on that fuel.
No, I take Kuldeep's care very seriously. And before that, while he was in service, my dad used to be here. I mean, in my life, it's been my dad, Kuldeep, Meera, are the three people who ever say, you don't have to do more. So in a way, they are the balance in my life. The kind of upbringing we had, we weren't allowed to think that money, property is important, relationships are important. But we live here as we did as children. Our home was always available to movements. It's been possible for me to build movements because I never had to wait for money. Everything happened from this little place. And my old dad would drive down in his old Fiat, which Kuldeep still drives it. I've done that because, in my childhood, this old man was the most inspiring feature in my life. Einstein. This is my writing.
This is your secret.
This is my
corner.
It's my secret.
Where you disappear from the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is where we have the cows. No other house do you have an entry at the level of the ground. It's at the same level because the cows had to walk in. They couldn't climb steps. So, this was for the cows. This place was... So I say, I got my parents' spirit and the spirit of all the cows blessing our work. Oh, we should be moving.
Yeah,
we are late. On the seeds, Nathania has created seed banks. The seeds we save are adapted to the region.
Because we have been trying hard for the seed, but the feedback coming from the grassroots level, they said that this said some soil testing and weather condition has to be seen. So that prolong our life.
No, but the ones that are available in that area are adapted.
Yeah, thank you so much.
When we do in future the intensive workshop in Dehradun, I'll tell friends anywhere in the world that at this time we will be working with the Tibetan community and we would like them to give some time.
Right.
So we get not just the top experts in India to support this shift to organic. We get the top experts of the world to work together to help us. Some you might have, but some.
We have decided to strengthen the agriculture system, to revitalizing the soil, discarding the chemical things and make it completely organic. And then they should grow the crops which they are using.
No, they made a decision. It's a policy decision. It's a cabinet decision. That all Tibetan settlements will change.
Will stop the chemical. I don't care whether I'm moving ahead or moving back. I have to stop.
तो बस घर के लिए नहीं रखते? देखो कितना बढ़िया दाना है।
हाँ।
वाह।
कहाँ से आप?
हम देहरादून से।
इनका एक फोटो ले लें।
हाँ बहन जी का लो।
आप दोनों का एक फोटो ले।
मैं इसको घास के साथ लेना है क्योंकि इसी को राउंड अप से खत्म करता है Monsanto. We were already driving them out from 2 districts where they've entered. Yeah, I think we can stop them.
My name is Ranjana Smetache, and I take care of public affairs for Monsanto in India. I want to tell you a bit about our office here. We occupy the entire 5th floor of this building, which is Ahura Center in Mumbai. And our office is divided up into 4 sections. So section A, it's color-coded with a blue color. I think the architect, when he was planning our office, sort of saw this as a sort of path through a garden. So you see little signs of things over here. I think you see a little snake here and some insects further up. It's beautifully designed. And we have, this section has the marketing people and the commercial team. So we even have some of our products up on the shelf. We are pioneers, and anybody who is working with change, working to change old methods, existing methods, I think faces more opposition. We have seen this in history pretty much with everything new that came in. I believe biotechnology will go a huge way to bettering the lot of the Indian farmer. We are doing very well with our hybrid seeds being sold, and we even export them. And our herbicides, again, it's a pretty strong platform. So all the 3 of, say, biotechnology, hybrid seeds, herbicides, pesticide.
They drink the pesticide and annihilate themselves.
To romanticize the old ways of farming here and to deny farmers new technology, I think that is criminal. I think to romanticize poverty and to say that for the sake of nostalgia, and especially when this is said by those people who don't really have a life of suffering, who are enjoying air-conditioned first-class travel, I think that is criminal.
उठा दो।
Name West Colgate in the street is the name also, the good Colgate in the name.
Neem for me is every taste, flavor, sight that I associate with being born on this land in India. And when I found it had been patented, that's when I just felt it was like rape. It was like civilizational rape.
Root, trunk, branch, leaf, seed. Can you really patent a tree? An American company, Grace, tried to acquire 60-odd patents for the Indian neem tree.
The best in my
energy like the inside of the
सब टोटल एकदम
या बोलो हिंदी में भी इनकी इसमें
ये सबसे बढ़िया ये भूत के लिए ये जो कीड़ा लगते हैं ये सब लिए ये सब खत्म है। इसका टूथपेस्ट बनता है ना इसके अंदर इनमें अंदर जा करके ये बहुत ही गुणकारी इसका ये छाल का जो रस होता है सबसे बढ़िया होता है.
After spreading the use of neem for a sustainable non-violent agriculture, we find that it has been patented. That's when we started to challenge the patent, and years later, in 2000, we managed to get the patent revoked. So for me, it is the ultimate symbol of freedom. Neem for us.
Neem for healthy skin.
I do my best to take the worst of fights, the worst of contests, and turn it into a creative challenge. To me, it's like a painting. Fighting Monsanto is like doing a perfect painting.
Wheat is in danger, says Vandana. Monsanto has patented a type of wheat called Napal. Vandana and Greenpeace are trying to get the patent revoked for the European market.
We should have had our wheat in our hands. Monsanto is also trying to keep control over the traditional organic crops of the world. The patent is a very sweeping patent. It's a plant patent, which the European Patent Office should never have given. It's a patent using Indian wheat varieties and putting their traits into varieties over which now Monsanto claims of invention. And it's got claims in that patent about products made from these wheat varieties. So it's all the way from the seed to the kitchen.
Scott, Siva.
Hello.
See you again.
Hi.
See you again. Did you have a good trip?
I had a good trip, but I hope I'll have to stop making these trips. I'd love to meet you outside the patent office, but not to come after neem, for wheat, and then we don't know how many more
trips. Didn't go too badly for you, did it?
No, it didn't.
Okay, ja. Alles klar. Okay.
Vor allem dieses Patent auf indischen Weizen.
Jetzt bringen wir das rein. Geht schon die Hälfte flöten hier. Ja. Just to tell you that the EPO has no interest in granting patents which could be labelled as being biopiracy patents, but you also know that the international law system is not that easy.
Well, we hope our position is going to help the EPO in its work to stop facilitating biopiracy and become part of the protector of traditional knowledge and people's rights to their own resources. Maybe I'm going to leave one of these with you.
Thank you. Okay. Very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Have a good trip. Thank you.
They have one vision in their minds about total control over our food and our seeds. We have another vision in our mind about people having their own control over their seeds and food and having the freedom. So we are here to defend our freedom. This European Patent Office tried to take it away from us for the case of neem, and we fought for years and had that revoked. And we know we're going to win this case.
Dialogue, respect, sharing, says Monsanto in its pledge. Sharing our daily bread or patenting it?
The question of patenting itself and patenting seeds.
Patenting life, I mean.
Patenting seeds. You don't patent life. No one can patent life. You can patent an innovation. You can patent something you've done differently in the seed. Every country in the world, including Sweden, including every country, all 25 European Union member states, the United States, Japan, everywhere in the world, virtually, you may patent a seed. Or you may protect a seed. Sometimes it's through plant variety protection laws. But you may do this. And it's for the same reason that patenting is done in any sphere. That's to find a balance between society's right to know about inventions, what have been done, because in order to get a patent you have to publish it, so there's a certain amount of transparency involved. But in exchange for that, you get a certain period of time where you can where only you can commercialize that discovery.
My job was both the science and the application of the science to take the genes from the molecular biologists and actually put them into living plant cells and grow those cells back to whole plants.
Why did you start working with something like this?
Because I'm a gardener at heart, and I love to grow plants. The respect really came out of feedback that we heard that we were arrogant and that we were, I think so.
In what way?
Believing that because we thought we were right, everybody should agree with us. Thinking that our explanation of why society should like our products should be good enough for everybody. That's arrogant. You know, our history as a society is not without mistakes of introducing new technologies that people said were safe, and then it turned out not to be. So, and if you don't know, the natural tendency is to be cautious.
The day Monsanto starts to compensate people who have been affected, farmers for sure, with a compensation for the error and harm they have caused, that's the day we will recognize that they really have admitted their mistake. Then you would have arrogance moving into humility.
నా పేరు లావడియా దేవిది. అప్పు గురించాను పత్తి గింజలు తెచ్చినాం, పంట మండలే. మిరప తోట వేసినాం, మిరప తోట మండలే. పసుపు వేసినాం, పసుపు మండలే. మొక్కజొన్నలు వేసినాం, అవి పండలే. బాకీ అయినాం, బాకీ గురించి మందు తాగి చచ్చింది. కూలీ చేసుకొని బతుకుతాను.
Only one son. Four sons.
చాలా అయింది. అప్పోలు వచ్చిండ్రు, వచ్చి ఇంటి మూట కూర్చున్నారు, ఇజ్జత్ తీసుకున్నారు. ఇజ్జత్తోనే మందు తాగి చచ్చిండు.
I'm very glad you asked me this question about relating to farmers' suicides. They are unable to sustain themselves. They're going into debt and then their crops are getting devastated either by vagaries of the weather or by insect pressures, and they're unable to repay their debts and then are forced to take this extreme step. If economic desperation is sending our farmers into this very extreme situation, I think by the same logic, the NGOs should welcome a technology which help farmers be richer and prouder. So I would really say, in that case, all the more reason why this technology is of value.
Small peasant farmers are basically growing diverse crops primarily to feed themselves and maybe sell 10% on the market. When a company like Monsanto enters the scene with its aggressive and arrogant advertising, it brings new seeds that can't be saved. The new seeds require huge doses of chemicals. The company, through its agent, makes a promise and say, take these miracle seeds, and they sign the farmer into a debt. I don't want a situation where the prayer, give us this day our daily bread, ends up being a prayer to Monsanto. I'd rather let it be a prayer to creation.
Siva, up. Vandana Siva, up. Vandana Siva, up. Welcome. Vandana Siva.
बहुत ही उस पद्धति से विचारियां जानवारियां करना
कंट्रैक्ट फार्मिंग ਜਿਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਕੰਟਰੈਕਟ ਫਾਰਮਿੰਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਇਨਸੈਕਟੀਸਾਈਡ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਅਸਰ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਡਾਕਟਰੀ
Yes, I'm here for a public hearing because of the farm suicides. I went to one village, second village, third village. Any village you step into in Punjab, there's been a suicide. Any village.
And the government, rather than accepting its responsibility, says because they had taken loans and they misutilized the loans, and that's why they are committing suicides.
Analysis of the government is alcohol and adultery is the cause. Even though all the figures show that this man had 5 lakh debt, this person had 2.5 lakh debt. The figures are very clear of the debt.
That's why he's saying that they were driven to.
They were driven to.
That's why.
But the government is trying to turn it into a psychological problem and saying the way we'll address the farm suicide issue is appoint psychiatrists in rural areas.
ಮೇಡಮ್ 9% ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಇದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು ಮೇಡಮ್. ಇದು ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಹರಾಜು ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಅದೊಂದು ಬಿಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
These are notices that they got from the bank. This is from the KEB saying this much amount is due. This is from the Corporation Bank. The branch is here in the village saying that this much is due. And this was the notice from the bank asking him to come and meet them. I was asking him when did he get the notice really. And he's saying that they had no idea. They'd kept it all in the cupboard and that he was handling everything. It was only after his death that they pulled everything out.
ಆ ಥರ ಸಾಲ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಹತ್ರ ಈ ಜನಗಳ ಹತ್ರ ಗೊಬ್ಬರದ ಹತ್ರ ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಬೆಳೆಸಿ ಉಪ್ಪಿಂಡಿ ತಗೋಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ ಅದರಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಲ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಏನೂ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಬರುವ ಆದಾಯ ಕಡಿಮೆ, ಖರ್ಚು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು, ಹಿಂಸೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಸಾಲ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಅವರು ಸುಸ್ತಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹಿಂಸೆ ಕೊಡಕ್ ಬಂದ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಒಬ್ಬರು ಕಷ್ಟ ಸುಖ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ದಾನೆ.
91ನೇ ಇಸ್ವಿಯಿಂದ ಏನು ಈ ಮಾಡರ್ನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಧುನೀಕರಣ ಆಯಿತು, ಆವಾಗಲೇ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದೇ ಬೆಳೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ದು. ಆವಾಗಿಂದಲೂ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಈ ಫಸಲು ಏನಿದೆ ಈ ಬೆಳೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸುಲಭವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ನಮಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ ನಾವು ಏನಾದ್ರು ರಿಫಂಡು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ತಿರುವಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಯ್ತು. ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನಕ್ಕೇ ನಾವು ಆಹಾರ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ನಮಗೆ ಬಹಳ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಯ್ತು. ನಮಗೆ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಗೊಬ್ಬರದ ರೇಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಗದಿ ಆಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸರ್ಕಾರದಿಂದ ವ್ಯಾಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಓಪನ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅದು ಬಹಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಬೆಳೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಏನು ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ ಅವರು ಈ ಒಂದು ಆತ್ಮಹತ್ಯೆಗೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಟ್ಟಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಭಾವನೆ.
ನನ್ಗಂತೂ ಕಷ್ಟ ಒಂದು ಹೊರವಾಗಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಅವ್ರ ಕಷ್ಟ ಎಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ತಲೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ರು.
Farmers' suicides are a result of a war declared against farmers, a war of global giant corporations who have used the biggest instruments of the World Trade Organization, the World Bank and IMF at the international level, and are also using the national government in order to create their market opportunities and their profits. But their profits are coming at the cost of farmers' lives.
दिल खुश कर दिया बीजा ने।
ये बथुआ तो ठीक ही है, इसका
अच्छा
क्या बुरा
है, बहुत अच्छा है। ये उगाया वाला है कि जंगली वाला?
नहीं नहीं, यही है
अपना वाला।
आपने घर में जो हो रहा है ये बथुआ भी है। अब इतना ये रख दिया, ये कस्तूरी मेथी है, एक पेड़,
हाँ
क्या काली राई,
हाँ
ये सफेद राई, हाँ ये धनिया, ये गोल मूली, ना गोल मूली ना सफेद मूली।
Barun Mitra. Remember? He campaigns energetically for free trade, collaborating with economists and the decision makers of society.
She has become a product of globalization, known across the world, fighting against globalization. Just imagine, 20 years ago, it would have been impossible for her to become what she is. There wouldn't have been TV, there wouldn't have been any satellite, there wouldn't have been communication, there wouldn't have been email, there would have been nothing. So she has harnessed the power of the market, the forces of globalization, to become an icon, and now blames all that or prevents everybody else from accessing similar benefits.
And the group of journalists surrounding you, and one hand comes through, and I say, oh, an organic farmer has brought me organic manure. And then he says, no, this is a bullshit award for promoting organic farming. Hello. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Nice seeing you again. I don't see you much in India.
Because we live in different worlds in India.
Are you saying that farmers in India were living in some kind of a world of milk and honey and had no worries quite apart from...
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is the farmers have to be given the respect of having their minds. You cannot hijack their minds.
Farmers are extremely competent to be able to
I am not saying the farmer is incompetent. I'm saying a competent farmer can be made a fool of by irresponsible companies. No. I'm not doubting the competence of farmers. That's the basis of my own work.
That's why I think we should join hands. Because,
Not on biotech. On organic farming, the day you're willing to adapt.
I have nothing against organic farming. My only point
why did you give me an award in Johannesburg for making the world starve because of organic farming?
No, my point is let the farmers decide whether they want organic or want biotech or want hybrid.
On honest information, the day the Monsantos are accountable for selling false claims.
Today, small farming in India or anywhere else, why is it synonymous with poverty? It is synonymous with poverty because just like in any economic activity, you have to improve your productivity, you have to scale up.
The moment you let the market drive every farmer into competition with every other farmer, and competition is your mantra.
If we think that we are going to make our farmers better by keeping them where they are, we are going to only help them or push them on the road to suicide.
The suicide started in 1997 when Indian agriculture policies started to go in the direction of US agriculture policies. No farmer was locked into deep debt. No farmer committed suicide. Not before 97. Suicide
that is no.
Threefold more. Threefold more than the normal suicide.
Because agriculture today is not economically viable.
This is ragi. It's a millet that has more protein, more calcium than any other grain. Per unit water use, there is no crop more productive than this for nutrition. If we want to make sure hunger is driven out of the world and the water resources of the earth are conserved, this is the kind of bread we all should be eating daily.
Slow food, relaxed digestion, a thought that grew to a worldwide movement in just a few years. Vandana is an obvious choice for guest speaker. She has the latest on Monsanto and wheat.
And I want to just share with you the very good news that we have just won the third fight against the pirates who take our seeds, our knowledge, and claim it to be their invention. Basmati was stolen, we reclaimed it. Our neem was stolen, we reclaimed it. And now, just on 26th of September, the European Patent Office revoked the wheat patent number EP 0445929, which was a patent held by Monsanto based on stealing an ancient Indian wheat variety with low gluten and low elasticity. Every speaker this evening has talked about a world without GMOs, a world without seed patenting and life patenting. That is the world we are here to create, and I am absolutely confident we will. Seed by seed, plant by plant, peasant by peasant, community by community, country by country, we will liberate the earth, we will reclaim our food freedom. Thank you. We are going from here to Plachimada, where the women have stopped the coke plant from stealing their water. So we are going to give them support so it doesn't get undone.
सारा दुनिया साथ में Coca-Cola अकेला.
Since how long the sitting has
They've been sitting for, I've come for, I think, a second year anniversary. 600 days.
40 days.
640 days. Yeah.
I'm a farmer, and I bring the support of all the farmers in the world from all the continents who are fighting against companies who want to privatize water.
All of it. All of them.
If you don't have water, it's impossible to have life. If you don't have water, it's impossible to make farming. It's impossible to have vegetables. It's impossible to live in the countryside. This big country, India, was occupied by the Britain. And you had this, the Mahatma Gandhi said, Britain quit India. And now, all of us, we want to say, Coca-Cola, quit India. Pepsi-Cola, quit India. Monsanto, quit India. Vivendi, Suez, quit India.
Coca-Cola is engaged in water theft, as the High Court has just ruled. Because these are global companies, they have a global reach, they have a global destruction. We are getting globally organized to deal with them, and Plachimada has become the symbol of how far organized people, which seem to be the most powerless, what could be more powerless than women, Adivasis, Dalits? And that is what is the power that was mobilized to take on this company.
From here they are pumping water and surrounding place, but now it is not positioned to take water. Again.
കമ്പനി വന്ന് ഒരു 6 മാസം ആകുമ്പോഴേക്കും വെള്ളങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഒരു കസ്പ് വെള്ളമായി മാറിപ്പോയി. പക്ഷെ ഞങ്ങൾക്കൊന്നും അറിയില്ല, ഈ വെള്ളത്തിനെ പറ്റി എന്താണെന്ന് അറിഞ്ഞില്ല. ചോറ് വെച്ചാൽ രാവിലെ വെച്ചാൽ 10 മണി ആകുമ്പോഴേക്കും ചീഞ്ഞു ഉണ്ണാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ആ ചോറ് തന്നെ ഉണ്ടാ വയറുവേദന, തലവേദന, ഇങ്ങനെ അങ്ങനെ കുടിക്കാനും പറ്റില്ല.
എങ്ങനെ മനസ്സിലായത്? ഇതുകൊണ്ടാണ് കമ്പനി കൊണ്ടാണെന്ന് എങ്ങനെ മനസ്സിലായി?
കമ്പനി കൊണ്ടാണെന്ന് ഞങ്ങൾക്കറിയില്ല. പക്ഷേ ഈ വെള്ളത്തിനൊക്കെ ടെസ്റ്റ് നോക്കി.
How many people are without water and how big is the area that has problem?
500 ആളുണ്ടാവും.
ആണ് 2-3 വീട് അല്ല 2-3 ആൾക്കാർക്ക്
അത് ചുറ്റി വരെ 5 കോളനി ഉണ്ട് ആളുകൾ. 10-15 വീട്ടുകാർക്ക് മാത്രം തണ്ണിയില്ലെന്ന് ചൊല്ലി സമരം ചെയ്ത് വെച്ചാൽ ഞങ്ങളുടെ കാലത്ത് തന്നെ വെള്ളം കിട്ടാണ്ട് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടാവും. ചെറിയ കുഞ്ഞുമക്കളുണ്ടായിരുന്ന കാലത്ത് വെള്ളത്തിന് അവിടെ പോകാൻ സാധിക്കും. അപ്പോൾ ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരു നല്ല വെള്ളത്തിന് ഒരു ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഒരു ജീവിതങ്ങൾ ഇവിടെ മരണ ജീവിതങ്ങളാണ്. ഞങ്ങൾ കമ്പനി പോകുന്ന പറഞ്ഞു പോയി ഈ കമ്പനി ഇവിടെ ആവശ്യമില്ല.
Water is the property of all, according to a decision in the Kerala High Court.
You can see not a drop of water is wasted. What is generated on the roof. Then this is one thing. Second,
we have been given permission to meet the experts at Coca-Cola. They now have 1 month to show that Coca-Cola can make major reductions in their use of groundwater or come up with an alternative. If they fail to, the plant will be closed.
You can just come and see. Just come. So much water. Even in the dry season, now it is a very summer. Others are finding problem for water. This is the water level.
Water table is 2 meters from the ground level, from where you are standing.
Not bad.
The reputation was that Coca-Cola company is extracting more water, and the meter was put so that nobody can tamper with that. Every Monday they come and measure it. Monsoon starts and the general election is over, things will be normal.
things should be. See, this is a clash between two political parties, and they have become victims of that.
Everything will be settled, don't worry. Once election is over, everything will be settled. That's what I, as a social scientist, I feel it. Only 12 families are there. It's not things are there. I think there is some politics out there. Vandana, Siva and all these things. I told her, why you are doing such things? No, we are social activities, we are doing nothing else, that's all. See, scientists are supposed to find out the truth.
Local people know.
You need not to, I am not to bother about Coca-Cola. I am not to satisfy them. I am not pleading for the government. I am not pleading for Coca-Cola.
Bullshit! Bullshit!
I came all the way here, all the way from Canada, to support you in your fight against Coca-Cola.
And so we made big fights against GMO and against WTO.
This is the new revolution.
Of course.
Yeah, the way.
We say we are free at 12:45 for...
We can phone them and say we will come 12:45.
Yeah, exactly. After inaugural, 15 minutes back, right?
Okay.
As a disciplined march, everyone goes together, everyone comes back together.
Coca-Cola, India, Coca-Cola, India, Coca-Cola, India, Coca-Cola, India, Coca-Cola, India, Cola company go back, Cola company go back, Cola company go back, Cola company go back, Cola company go back. Vende, venda, vende, venda, vende, venda, Cola company, vende, venda.
I have permission to allow Madam Vandana Siva with foreign delegates and President.
Can I say one message? I think you should just go back to, what's the name? Vijay Bhaskar Reddy, right?
Yeah.
Tell Mr. Vijay Bhaskar Reddy, we are here with a purpose. We've come as their guests. We have a busy schedule. We are not desperate to come and talk inside because we have an agenda for our support to them. Now, if you're going to make their coming with us as an issue, we won't go in. It's as simple as that.
Coca-Cola,
Coca-Cola,
We have to leave and it'll be all over the media that Coca-Cola refused to let the people of Kachimada in while they wanted us, but we are their guests.
Yes.
And if you insult our hosts, you insult us.
I mean, is it worth making a trouble with only one person?
But it's all right.
We will allow you, along with...
But if you still
media,
think you're in a position where you talk allow language, sitting here after a court has ruled you shouldn't even be operating,
See, ma'am,
that's exactly what we are questioning about you as a company.
That is a subject I am not supposed to debate.
So don't use the word allow. If the answer is no, then both have to come or we don't come.
This is the real thing.
And I need to be tough to be able to face the powers of money, the powers of political systems, the mafia, the patriarchy that governs us all. One has to be tough. Of course one has to be tough.
My sisters were sitting alone, having persisted for a year to tell Coke to go home. Their persistent struggle has today led to the courts, High Court, coming down on the side of the people saying, yes, this company is stealing the water and now it should shut down its deep wells and deep bore wells. Today, a struggle that was totally local totally local, is so global that we have with us Jose Bové, we have with us Maud Barlow, we have the world's top WTO is an instrument of corporate unilateralism.
Don't you know that what is good for the United States and the EU is good for the world? It's no justice. Do you hear me?
We can duplicate the climate, temperature, humidity of any growing region anywhere in the world.
Bullshit.
We are pioneers. We are hybrid seeds. We are
Our world is not for sale.
We think exactly the opposite.
It's no justice.
The only way to feed the hungry is bring back these crops.
Do you hear me?
We gave the bullshit award to Vandana Siva.
Bullshit.
We are working towards an absolute food crisis.
We think exactly the opposite.
Don't you know that what is good for the United States